cooler air has already begun to move into portions of the north central U.S. this weekend, but as we get further into this week, a large portion of the eastern and central U.S. will be below average for temperatures well into this upcoming weekend for some areas. And so this is the latest 6 to 10 day temperature outlook here, with the area that has the highest chance of receiving below average temperatures into the southeast, portions of the mid-Atlantic and mid-south, even into portions of the central U.S. as well. And then areas into the extreme north central U.S. will be above average into the northwestern U.S., deep south into the Florida Peninsula, and then also Alaska will probably be above average, at least for the eastern and central part of the state. As we get further to the south into Hawaii here, a good bit of Hawaii will be above average for temperatures, but a small area could be around or just a little above average for this time of year. For the 8 to 14 day outlook, still below average temperatures seem to hang around, especially into the southeast, mid-south, central U.S., and then temperatures will be around average for a decent bit of the country as well, and then above average temps for the extreme southern areas and really northern half to northwestern portions of the U.S., then into Alaska again. Most of the state will be above average for the 8 to 14 day range. Heading down to Hawaii, once again, Hawaii will be primarily above average for the next 8 to 14 days. So what do the temperatures look like on the weather model? So as you can see here today on Sunday, temperatures well into the 80s and 90s for a decent portion of the southern half of the country. But way up here into Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Illinois, those areas will be pretty comfortable today into the 60s and 70s. Then as we get further into this week, you can see those areas begin to cool down even further into the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes states, even into the southeast as well. As we get into Thursday and even into Friday, still 70s and 80s for a decent bit of the country, with temperatures into the 90s for portions of the southwest, south central U.S. and Florida as well. Getting into this weekend, temperatures to remain around or a little above average for some areas, but still areas into the eastern and portions of the central U.S. will be below average, and temperatures into the 70s and 80s possible throughout most of the eastern U.S. And once again, those isolated areas into the southwest and south central U.S. seeing temperatures into the 90s and maybe even hitting 100. And so you can see this cool down a lot better with dew points. So the humidity will definitely be down as we get to Monday and Tuesday for a large portion of the U.S. Only areas into the central U.S. seeing dew points into the 60s. The rest of the U.S. will see dew points into the 40s, 50s, and even 60s into primarily Florida and once again the central U.S. As we get later into this weekend, moisture will still try to find its way back up into the central U.S., but these areas into the western and eastern U.S. will not be as humid. So what about our severe weather? So today on Sunday, we do have some isolated areas of severe weather. 2 marginal risk, 1 into portions of the northeast, and then 1 into the central U.S. For tomorrow on Monday, we have an isolated area of severe weather down here into Arizona, just a marginal risk of severe weather. Then looking into Tuesday, we just have a general risk of thunderstorms into portions of the deep south and western U.S. So what do our precipitation chances look like as we get into this week? So going into Monday, you can see some showers and storms across the central U.S. and portions of the western U.S., also maybe into the Ohio Valley and even northeastern U.S. As we get further into the week on Tuesday and even into Wednesday, still rain chances will be quite high into the central U.S. and northwestern U.S. Going into Thursday, then into Friday as well, still continued chances of rain across the central U.S. And then going into this weekend as well, north central U.S. and central U.S. really as a whole will continue to see rain. Really as we get into late August and early September, those chances of precipitation will shift a little bit further eastward. So what's the latest on the tropics? So right here we have Tropical Storm Fernand, which was really called a tropical storm just about a day ago. But Tropical Storm Fernand is well east of Bermuda and is not expected to impact Bermuda in any way. But there will still be wind from this storm just way out to sea. So once again, it's really not expected to impact anybody at this time. But still, areas maybe into southeastern Newfoundland may need to watch the storm just a little bit. But it is expected to strengthen a little bit more into a stronger tropical storm, but then will begin to weaken further as it gets farther north into the Atlantic. And so if we make our way further south, we can see our area right here, which is Invest 99L. And so this area is just kind of east of the Lesser Antilles. And so as it gets further westward, it does have a 40% chance to develop into a tropical cyclone within the next 2 and 7 days. So even though this area has a low chance, kind of a low chance of developing into anything, we still need to watch it. And the good news is that the models do not really show this area developing into anything significant. So we'll look at the models in just one moment to see what they have to show for Invest 99L. So here are a few models for Invest 99L, and as you can see, most of these models have it continuing westward into the Caribbean, but none of the models really have it strengthening or even turning kind of northward as we get further into this week. So still as of right now, the models do not show anything significant. So now taking a look at model intensity guidance for Invest 99L, and so almost all of the models barely have it strengthening into a tropical storm. If it were to strengthen into a tropical storm, it would be a very weak tropical storm if we take this guidance into consideration. But only about 1 or 2 models show it even strengthening above tropical storm status, and some of them don't even have it strengthening into a tropical storm at all. And so we'll continue to watch this area, and I don't think it's really anything we need to worry about right now. So that'll be it for today's forecast update. I appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope y'all have a great start to your week.